Welcome to the second day of Metaphor Lucknow Lit Fest, and आज हमारे साथ शिवानी वर्मा जी हैं. She is an accomplished Kathak dancer. She has worked on projects which have included Amitabh Bachchan and A.R. Rahman. So Shivani ji, my first question.
Adab.
Adab. Why Kathak and how Kathak?
That's an interesting story because my mother wanted me to be an Odissi dancer. She saw Sonal Mansingh ji perform before I was born and decided that if she had a daughter, that she has to learn Odissi and from Sonal Mansingh. So she had a daughter, and then when I was 3 years old in my preschool, my teacher there thought that I had some potential. So he used to give me like the main role in all the little baby plays that used to happen and the dance things that used to happen. So then when she heard I had potential, she had to teach me, but I was too young to go to any proper institution or a guru. Any structured thing. So this teacher of mine who was amazing with children used to come home to teach folk dance. And then he started teaching a little bit of Tatkar and a little bit of the basic movements in Kathak. And I was like, as I said, this is between the age of 3 and 5. And by that time, I was very invested in Kathak myself. So when she wanted me to go to and watch and learn Odissi, I said, no, I will not leave my form. And of course, she was very, very enamored at that time also of Maharajji, who she had seen and perform in Calcutta. And he used to do this famous thing where he used to do his footwork and only one ghungru would ring. He would give that impression at the end of it. Only one ghungru would
is ringing.
Yeah. So she saw that, and again she was like, okay, then she has to go to Maharajji eventually. It's a long story. I didn't go to Maharajji at that point. I had a long trajectory, but eventually he ended up being my guru. So yeah, so that's why Kathak.
So you started Kathak when you were still under 5 years of age.
I wouldn't call it Kathak because I feel now, having learned all these years, and there's still so much to learn. I don't think you can ever get to that point.
Where you're perfect, of course.
Yeah, of course, the perfection is very far. But at that age, I think you're just learning about movement, below a certain age, because you're not used to the rigor and the things that the life of a classical dancer demands. You're too young to understand that. And especially below the age of 6, I think very few children have that focus. It's possible. I think it's a good age to be introduced and be exposed to all of our forms and culture. But I think proper talim, the right age is between I would say 6 and 8.
6 and 8.
So I would say I started learning properly at the age of about 7. Yeah.
And once you got into it, was it always sure to you that this is something you're going to pursue professionally? Or was it always like a hobby and something that you found an escape in?
So it was my lifelong dream to be a lawyer, because I come from a background of lawyers. My family mostly, they're all lawyers. And I used to feel, again at that same age, I used to feel very left out in dining table conversations, because everyone was discussing things which sounded really grand and amazing to me. And I couldn't understand them. So I always wanted to be a lawyer. I did study law, I graduated. But while I was in law school, I started getting amazing professional opportunities. And it was purely a hobby for a long time even after that. But I think for this, I would credit, of course, my gurus, like everything that I think goes without saying. But as a professional dancer, and I would credit Lucknow as well for it, because the two people who played a key role, apart from, again, Maharajji, who is also, Lucknow had his heart through his life, were Muzaffar Ali Sahab and Begum Zakia Zahir. And these two totally unconnected people in any other sense, both of them saw me dancing in, random group things that I was doing as a hobby at my Guru Shobna Didi's group things. And they singled me out and each of them gave me a solo in the same year. So my first professional solo ever was in Lucknow on Majaz. Performing here has always been very special because of all these beautiful people that I've met. And I met Kanakji also on one of those trips,
Oh, that is so beautiful.
I think the warmth and the welcome that you get here is unparalleled, And I've not been here since pre-COVID, so I'm actually really, really happy to be here.
That is so good to hear.
No, I've been exposed to the best of it, I think, because as I said, Muzaffar Sahab brought me here. And then starting with working with a poet like Majaz, who I think instantly connects. So that time I didn't really know much about Urdu Shairi either. That's also what I love about my dance form, you know, as you develop a taste and an interest for so many related things, that you become a more wholesome person, you know. So with Majaz, that was the experience. Then through Muzaffar Sahab, I met so many of the wonderful people here, and they were also warm, and like you know, I felt at home wherever I was going. And then I did, you know, multiple performances in the next few years after this.
As a dancer, when you think of your career, you know, when you look at the future, so are there, like, because art is so intangible at times, that do you actually have some goals that you work towards, or is it more about just working on your practice and refining your form further? How do you view the future and what's coming towards you?
It's very interesting that you're asking me this question, because you know, I've had a very interesting experience with my art, because I never intended to be a dancer. You know, it was not an ambition or a goal in my life. It's something that you know,
Couldn't be
fate
stopped.
yeah, it's literally fate has conspired. All the right people have come into my life to make it happen. Starting from clearly the time I was born, because it was in my, you know, mother's mind always, not in mine. My gurus, who are legends, you know, both of them, and then the right people to place me in the right place. So being from a different background, I think I feel a greater sense of responsibility, because this is not something that I do just for my own self. It's made me a better person, I feel. It's made me someone who understands that in today's society, Indian society, because we are so attracted towards a Western and Western culture, because of this whole post-colonial
Individualism.
yeah,
and
I think the bigger cities particularly, like I think in towns like Lucknow, it's still
there is a societal connect.
Yes. Yeah. So I feel like my work, and because my taaleem is as pakka as it can be because of my gurus, but because I'm from a background of less hunger, maybe, I don't know how to put it.
Ambition.
Yeah, ambition. Like I wouldn't do anything to make it happen. And I feel that the audiences for Indian traditional art forms are dwindling. So we have to learn how to keep up with the times and make it accessible.
So true.
So, and I've seen again both my gurus do that in their times, and I want to carry that forward. I do it for myself, yes, but when I present something, I generally do it with the idea that I want to be able to connect with a person who's not connected to Kathak. That's generally my thought process about it, and I don't move away from the grammar or the language, because that is all I know. I've been learning since I was that high. That is literally all I know. But I want to place it in a context that is appealing, that to anyone who, it's like you're watching a piece of art which is tangible, but do you know who's painted those and how have they painted those strokes? You don't know, but you still buy that art. Being intangible makes it a little more difficult, because it's that moment that you've got someone, and then you know, nobody can possess that moment.
It just has to happen on its own.
Yeah. But I think with time, if you can create that feeling, and the greatest artists have done that for us, like these memories that you can't forget. I think if I can create even a portion of that someday, not
I'm sure you do.
It will hopefully have an impact on what people think about the arts in today's times in India.
So it is not just that you're performing because you want to perform, but also that you want to take the art form forward, make it reach out to new audiences, and preserve what has already been done.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to die, obviously not. It's too strong and too old a tradition too. But I do think that we as artists have a responsibility to communicate it a little bit differently now, you know. And I find myself placed on a very interesting cusp where that is concerned, you know, because of this balance of worlds that has come into my life. So
that sounds very well rounded. I do want to ask you one final question, which is, what would you advise to somebody who has just realized that dancing is something they want to think of as more than just a passion? You know, what is that advice that you wish you had known, or maybe you want people to know?
Okay.
Like a young person who's trying to make a space for themselves.
Okay, so firstly, there are no shortcuts in this because I think your riyaz is very important. I realized the importance of riyaz much after, because for me, I was dealing with it like a hobby, right? I was not looking at it as something. And now I've started enjoying that whole process. So I think riyaz is the key. The second thing is that you have to be patient. You have to know that it's a journey, and it's a long and very fulfilling journey. It's fulfilling on a daily basis. But if you get impatient and you start waiting for a result, then it's not going to, it's not your path then. Because let's face it, today's times, who are the most famous people? Okay, they're either politicians, or they're movie stars, or connected to the movies in some way, or sports persons. And sports also, a few sports, right? So as a classical artist in this time, let's say one generation up, down, you're not likely to reach that level of celebrity, right? But you can create an environment that in future those celebrities come back, because there was an environment when these were the celebrities of the art world, right? And Indian classical art forms are very spiritual, like it's not just entertainment. And a lot of times the danger again in today's time is that everyone reduces it just to entertainment. Yes, it should be appealing and you know, easy to understand maybe in some ways, but entertainment I think goes a bit extreme. So you have to keep in mind that it is an inward process, and if you go on that inward process, it has to show up outside. You know, you're not going to, again, Maharaji used to say this, and I mean, he's a maestro, so that's another, but just to, you know, quote him on this, he used to say that what you see, that's only जो मेरे मुझसे छलक रहा है वो तुम्हें दिख रहा है. मेरे अंदर जो है, he was so fulfilled inside that what was apparent to us, and I mean, it was Maharaji, right? Or I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But to watch him perform was like, oh my God. But imagine what he was feeling in that moment. If that's what he's saying is the offshoot of what his feeling was. So you have to be true to your art. You have to be patient. You have to understand that rigor is important. That it can get boring because it's monotonous. जो बच्चा तत्कार से शुरू करता है, वो सबसे बड़े गुरु भी तत्कार से ही शुरू करते हैं. You know, so you have to keep at it. I lost patience in the middle, like most young people, you know. But I was lucky that I got put back on the track. Others may not be. So for anyone who wants to pursue a life in the arts, they should just stick with it and be honest to it and be joyful about it. Like truly enjoy it from within. You know, that's the thing.
Thank you so much for your time, Shivani ji. It was absolutely wonderful conversing with you. And guys, now you know the truth. So if you want to get good at it, just keep practicing. Enjoy the process more than the goal, and you will eventually make it.